Well, joining us for our costume designers panel now is Rebecca Guzzi for Ratched on Netflix, Ryan Murphy's latest project. I'm Marcus James Dixon, a senior editor at Gold Derby. And thank you, Rebecca, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
And from the moment the trailer was released, it was clear that even though Ratched would be telling a dark horror story, that the visuals would be the opposite. It would be very bright and very light. And that's thanks to the costumes and the sets. I was wondering if you could talk about, let's start with the nurses' scrubs. They are not boringly drab and white. They are bright aqua green, like they really stand out.
Yes, so Ryan from the first meeting was very adamant that he did not want what was featured so prominently in Cuckoo's Nest, this really bleached, institutionalized, void of any color palette, both in the costumes and the sets. So he said, we are going to lead up to that, but we don't want to start there. So he threw out, could be green, could be blue, and left it open for Lou and I to explore. And so we kind of sort of went back to our office, scratched our head and said, how could a nurse do her job in a non-white colored dress? It needs to be sterile. It needs to look the part. But the more we sat with it, we went out and swatched, we did research. We started doing just some Photoshop and some renderings, would take it back to Ryan and sort of got that ball rolling. And in the end, for a number of reasons, because we also had so many background and so many day players in it. And of course, Sarah, Judy, Alice, they were going to be featured so prominently in this nurse dress, trying to find the kind of perfect blue-green that would look great against a lot of different skin tones. Because we also didn't have all of our cast or our scripts up front. So we didn't quite know where we were going, but we knew the majority of the work and the storyline would be set within the hospital. So we knew we kind of had to be this universal color. And that also worked well with what Judy Becker, our production designer, was putting with her team of set deck in the interiors. There's lots of coral and alabaster and this kind of cornflower blue. So having that sort of borderline, blue-green worked the most harmoniously with what she was doing as well.
You mentioned Cuckoo's Nest. Did you feel the need to go back and watch the movie or read the book, or did you kind of just want to do your own thing and kind of have your own version of Mildred Ratched, played by Sarah Paulson?
No, we absolutely rewatched the movie. We didn't read the novel, but we watched the movie to kind of get our heads back into that, even though we knew Ryan didn't want to mirror that or connect to that just yet. But, were there any clues in that? Because we don't know a lot about Mildred Ratched. And even watching the movie again, we kind of still didn't pick up on it. So she really was, when we got a hold of her, this mystery. And between Sarah and Ryan and the scripts and the writers, we sort of pieced little tidbits here and there together. But the first time we see her, we don't know her past, we don't know where she comes from, and that lended itself to us kind of having the ability to play with different silhouettes as she does present herself differently, in sort of a manipulative way to different people based off what her needs are.
And people really went crazy for some of Nurse Ratched's looks, particularly there was the black one with the green gloves, and then there was the golden yellow dress. How would you describe her overall wardrobe when she's not in the scrubs?
So that itself is a process, but we know that Mildred from the beginning is not who she says she is, that she does have a secret. But we know a little bit of what her end goal is, but not clearly. So we wanted to give her this a kind of across the board A-line skirt that is a lot slimmer in the nurse dress, but can be a lot fuller in her civilian clothes. And she, in contrast to Gwendolyn, is more feminine because, right, that's how she wants to appear. That's what she thinks she is, what her presentation of herself is. And of course, more and more we find her get more comfortable with herself and who she admits herself to be. So we kind of kept a steady silhouette, which was in the beginning, like with that marigold suit that she arrives at the hospital in, a little bit new look Dior inspired, which was a note from Ryan that he wanted to incorporate that. And that was kind of a benchmark and a placeholder for the time of the show that we were doing, 1947, without going super drab post-war, alluding to we are out of it, but not quite 100%. So it was about finding, for Mildred, a silhouette that works in the blouses and the skirts, and then sort of playing with separates. And sometimes she's in a suit, sometimes she's in just a blouse and a skirt, but keeping that femininity all the way through.
I can't go any further without asking about the monkey. Is this the first time in your career that you had to costume a monkey? And how many total looks did it have throughout the season?
This was my first time designing for a monkey and working with one. So Miss Petunia had, I believe, 5 changes overall. And believe me, if we could have made 100 for her, we would have. We loved doing that and loved even more coordinating what Miss Petunia was going to wear once we had what Sharon was going to wear in a scene. So they kind of appeared as this mother-daughter dress-up duo.
Why do I feel like the monkey had more costume changes than Finn Whitrock did?
I think that's an accurate observation.
Well, he was the villain of the season, I guess you would say, and he was down in the jail cell. He was always wearing the white T-shirt. What do you think, if he were to get out and live amongst us, what would his look be? What would his wardrobe be?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't think he can ever really break free of his past. Like, that end episode where we see him call Ratched, end of the final episode where we see him call Mildred and, say what he says to her. I don't think he's ever going to break free of that. And there's always going to be that history weighing him down. So I think he's just that Marlon Brando bad boy T-shirt, rolled up sleeves, cigarette in the pocket, lived in pleated trousers or jeans, and that's who he is.
And you mentioned Sharon Stone. This was a very flamboyantly dressed character, kind of like a classic Hollywood type. Very, very showy. It must have been very fun to dress her.
It was a dream.
Yeah. I wanted her to be in the season even more because every time she was on, it was just this can't look away type of dress.
I think so much of that honestly comes from Sharon. She is very commanding. When you're with her speaking in person or on screen, just kind of can't take your eyes off of her. So she was, all of the cast really, they're all amazing collaborators, lots of give and take. But Sharon was, because this was against this sort of character that wasn't based on anything, but just could be this sort of eccentric heiress, like Sharon really helped craft it from the beginning. And we had a lot of fittings. And it's like, we had more ideas and designs for her than we had actual changes. Like Miss Petunia, like we could have just kept going. It was so much fun.
Well, is there any news on season 2 of Ratched? I know there are a lot of people, myself included, who cannot wait to see where the story takes these characters next.
I can't wait. I have no news. I am just as in the dark as you are.
Hopefully soon we will find out. Well, congrats. You won an Emmy for the assassination of Gianni Versace, and I know you're working on the next crime story now, so we can't wait to see the Linda Tripp story, the Monica Lewinsky story.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.